Funny shit. Being an adult sucks.
It does suck. I'm not a fan. I'm not. No. I haven't been a fan forever.
I'm still not sure either of us has grown up properly. You more than me because like you are older.
That's fair. I mean, on paper, yeah.
Yes.
If we're talking that way. I mean, and then I guess I have a kid, so that kind of just seals the deal for me.
Oh, but, the dad level just takes it up a step too.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Sweet, man. Well, yeah, no, we're recording already, so we must just keep going on.
Right.
And then we can just chat after. But yeah, man, fucking how was Sum 41 on the floor?
Dude. Okay, we're gonna get into two different stories on that one. First of all, show was incredible, tons of fun. It was really funny because like obviously when we had Brown Sound at Buck, I drove him for all that. So like I shot him a text 2 days before the show being like, hey man, I know you're in town, you want to grab a beer. Not expecting a text back. Nothing like that.
Fair.
Text me, what time were doors? Like 6 o'clock?
6, yes.
Yeah. So he sends me a text at like 4:30 being like, hey man, are you on the after show list to come hang out and we'll have that beer?
Nice.
And I'm like, no, Dave, how would I get on this? Like, first of all, the fact that I get to call Brown Sound Dave is just, it's one of those things. It just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't.
I'm just like, nah, man. Like, I'm going to try to get that figured out for you. I'm like, cool. If not, we're on the floor. And like, Ann is dead set on being directly in front of you. So sure enough, we wind up on the rail right in front of Dave's side, like having a great time. And it was awesome. It was tons of fun. But my biggest gripe, and I've noticed this a few times, and I'm sure we've talked about it before too, since the lockdown and people not like able to go outside and go and be in groups and all this stuff, there's a full culture shock of people that just don't understand how to be in a crowd and how to be at a concert or any of that. So Ann's got this woman that right before Pup is definitely had a few too many. She may have been overserved.
Okay.
Potentially. That just comes up and says, just so you know, I'm going to fight you for that spot. That's the opening line of this conversation. And I'm standing there, and well, you're well aware of Ann's reputation on that floor.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, here we go again.
So I'm just like, you can try, but you're not gonna get there. So a song in, this woman is like a 3-step charge, just straight into the back of Ann. Does it once, and Ann's like, do you mind? Like, I'm fine. We're not in the pit. We're not dead center. We're well off to the side. Like, we're old. We don't want to be involved in that shit unless we have to be. And we're sitting there and she runs again and Ann hip checks this girl. And in a matter of fucking seconds, security has come around from the barricade through the crowd, grabbed this woman and her boyfriend, who are then kicking and screaming like toddlers getting pulled out of Chuck E. Cheese out of the pit because they're just like, this isn't like nobody else around you is having fun and having a mosh pit and any of that. Like, if you want that, go over there. But you're throwing beer in people's faces. You're like just brutally attacking. You're not even like trying to push and have fun and like give a warning. You're just full on sprinting at it. Yeah. So that's a song or two into Pup. Halfway through Sum 41, there is this kid. And again, the credit on this one is this kid probably turned 18 in the pandemic. Probably has only ever gone to a show or two where he could drink and all this. And it was because it's a farewell show. All these people came out that were like, oh my God, I remember Sum 41.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that kind of stuff. And so this kid is, again, had a few too many and is 6'2", 110 pounds, leaning on me. Not a tall, like, I'm a short dude. His elbow is on my shoulder. And so like keeps just elbowing me in the jaw. And I'm just like, I give him a shove and I'm like, okay, we've learned. We're not going to do that again. I was wrong. He did it again. So I grab him. I'm like, brother, you elbow me in the face again, we're gonna have a problem.
Oh my
like God. Just full warning. I'm not gonna be aggressive towards him, but I'm like, I don't want to get hit in the face that many times. And I know people are gonna complain and be like, well, if you don't want that, don't be in the pit. Again, not in the pit. You remember some of these shows like Slipknot and A Day to Remember. When I want to be in the pit, I will be in the pit. I'll be involved. I'll do my time and I'll get out. Like that's where I live. When I'm off to the side and I'm just enjoying the show and I'm old, I don't want to be doing that stuff. Yeah. Kid does it again a third time, so I just wind up and put knuckles right to his nose, and I watch this kid just hit the dirt. And the
Jesus.
best part about it is he gets up and runs away. His girlfriend had no idea that he was gone. And then end of the show comes and they're throwing out picks and set lists and sticks and stuff like that. And I get a pick and I just turn and give it to her. And I'm not sure if that was like, hey man, I'm sorry I beat the shit out of your boyfriend, but have this. Or the other thing was I'm like, I don't like as a dude who has been on the stage or toured with people on that stage, I don't have that like pandemonium over things getting thrown at me. I would
Yeah.
rather somebody who's genuinely going to be excited about it take it and go home and have the memory and have a good time with that. Or maybe this kid understands the apology of sorry I broke your nose. Guitar pick. But it was like it's the same thing, and I'm not sure if I'm just getting like more jaded, more frustrated with it, but like it's concerts, it's malls, it's at airports, just this personal spatial awareness that people don't have anymore. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
sure. Again, going to a grocery store, the amount of people that have run into me with a shopping cart
Oh yeah.
because they're just
100%.
not paying attention, or the exact opposite. They're 90 degrees in the aisle blocking it for everybody and they
Oh,
just don't
dude,
understand.
all the fucking time. It drives me nuts, man.
I've given up on trying to be
Oh.
polite for that one. I'm just grabbing carts and moving them when I have to. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Like, especially you go to Costco, it's the worst. It's the biggest nightmare ever. So that's
Always.
where I always get the most pissed off is at Costco. I'm like, why do I fucking come here?
I think I've got a solution for Costco, and it's they need to make it 18 up.
I like that.
Because or at least just give me like after 6 o'clock, like no children. Like that would fix all of the problems.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although I don't know, man. I like there's a lot of like old people in there too that like they'll do like the 90 block an aisle or they'll just like they're going so slow they'll stop it. So I'm gonna have one of these little testers here. I'm like, oh my god.
I don't know what I'm guessing we go to the same Costco, right? The one in Sherwood Park.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why that's the one I go to, but that's the one.
Yeah, interesting. I'm surprised you go to that.
There's not like it's the same distance as the one on the south side.
Yeah, yeah, I would assume.
Yeah.
Although I heard the South Side one's pretty fucking bad too, though.
It's so many more people.
Yeah,
It's bad. It's
exactly.
awful.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Every time I have been in there, I have not seen the sample people out.
At Sherwood Park?
I rarely, and I'm not sure if I'm just like going at the wrong hours, but like I think in the last like 3 or 4 trips, I've had one sample, and it was juice. Yeah.
Oh fuck! Every time I'm there, samples everywhere, and people are just blocking goddamn aisles because they want to try everything. I'm like, god damn it!
Mine are
The
just
worst is they
dumb.
don't like just park their cart somewhere conveniently, walk back and get a sample. It's like, no, I'm gonna stop right here.
And of course, it's at the end of the aisle, so just every
Yeah.
direction.
I'm like, god damn, it's pissing me off so much.
You realize how old we sound complaining about Costco, correct?
Costco, bro, Costco.
If we
No,
didn't sound
I-
old before this,
That's pretty much it. No, it's fuck, man, getting old. But it's funny too. Like, I don't know. I remember concerts. It's like you said, kind of like how we were chatting before. Some 41. It's like, man, I just want to hang back and like watch the show. Like, it's like you like once you've had your time of just like being in the front all the time, fucking in the pit all the time. Yeah, after you've kind of had your wear and tear, you're like, it's time to chill.
yeah. Well, like I'm not ever ruling out coming out of Mosh retirement, or I'm never going to crowd surf again or anything like that. But it's
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
special show.
For
And like to
sure.
complete 180 that Bruce Springsteen, like a month ago, going to that show, completely seated floor. Everybody was on really good behavior, except for the fact that nobody could understand like don't walk or don't stand in the aisle. And it's the Costco effect. It's the airport effect. People would just like stand and be directly in the way. So like I'm running out to get a beer and I come back and I'm having to physically move men in their 70s because they don't want to stand in their section so I can weasel up back to where I'm sitting.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, I'm a short dude. Yeah, I can't always see everything because there's tall people exist.
Dude, I'm in the same boat as you.
Right? Now, fortunately, the people in front of us were again overserved is a polite way of saying it. They were cooked.
Yeah.
Couldn't stay standing more than like 5 or 6 minutes, like just swaying and out of it. So they sat a lot. So it was really good to be able to see and not have a direct thing. But
Yeah. Fucking people, man.
I'm sorting out this tow truck situation right now. It's a ton of fun.
Oh yes, of course. That's so fucking yeah. That's wild. Actually, the one time, when was it? It was one Christmas. I remember we were driving to my parents' place, Christmas Day, and
Ooh.
we're like 5 minutes from my dad's on the north side, and we get pulled over, and like the cop pulled me over. I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what'd I do?" I'm like, "Okay." Pull over. He comes up. I'm like, "Hello, officer." Whatever, all that little chit chat, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I pulled you guys over. Your vehicle isn't registered." I was like, "What do you mean?" And it's like it's Christie's vehicle, right? I look at Christie. I was like, "What?" And I guess it had been like September, so it'd been like a few months since like it re-registered. But she was supposed to. She signed up to like get like a text, and she totally forgot. And I was like, "What?" Luckily, it's Christmas, and the dude was nice. He's like, "Yeah, just so you know, fix that." I was like, "Okay, thank you." It's like, God damn it!
Yeah.
It's so funny because Hudson's in the back. He's like, "Dad, you getting arrested?" I was like, "I hope not."
I love how that's his immediate reaction is my dad's a
Yeah.
badass. We're going to jail.
It's because I was driving.
Yeah.
So he's like, "You getting arrested?" I was like, "No. If I do, then I'm very confused." Fuck.
That would have been insane. I mean, I do the same thing. I do the auto renew and I get an email and a text for it. But I don't know what happened when I did it once. I think when I got this car, my auto renew was like 2 months away from the old one. So I think those first 2 months I might not have had like I wound up paying for a full year, and so my stuff ended 2 months prior to like the when the registration actually kicked in on like the second round. And I just remember getting an email being like, "Your registration's expired." And I was like, "No, it's not." And I'm going through and I'm like, "Oh shit, just accept. Yeah, no, we're good. Babe, don't worry about it. We got it." But like it's one of those weird things. Like I don't think about those kind of things. That's not in the back of my head that I'm like, it's September. I need to pay this bill.
I know. I feel like everyone, it's the same thing for everybody. Like, no one's on the ball for that.
No.
They need to be reminded.
Well, I think the only one for no reason at all, my Crave subscription, I remember the date for it.
That's funny.
But it's because Crave was like $360.
Ooh, oh, like a yearly.
Yeah, but it would take it out in one day. And so December 6th was that day for years. And I would forget and forget and forget. And then all of a sudden, okay, that money's gone. So this year I wound up canceling it like 2 days ahead of it. And I was like, I got you. I got you, motherfuckers.
Hey, you're not getting me this time.
Nope.
Yeah, fuck, man. Yeah, Crave is so much. It's insane.
Well, I mean, like, dude, we switched to Paramount Plus for like dirt cheap. So much better. I've just been watching CSI nonstop. They have every episode of CS. There's like 30 seasons of this show, man. Like, you don't have to pay attention. It's just on. That's all I need.
Yeah, it's one of the. I feel like it's just one of those shows that you just have in the background, not really pay attention.
Absolutely.
Like fucking 30 seasons.
Yeah.
Man, like that's so. I couldn't imagine watching like a whole series that's just like all that from the start to like I haven't even done that with The Simpsons, man. Like I can't imagine.
Right. Well, and this is like hour-long episodes. So you take every Simpson episode and double it, and then it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. Sorry, just the pregame started and it cut over to Alex Ovechkin on my other screen. It's him talking shit about how he's happy McDavid's out.
Oh, of course he is.
Which, I mean, if we're going to talk about something real quick, that is this weekend has been some of the worst officiating in sports I have seen in a long time.
It's true. It's true.
Between the Chiefs and Texans game and like, I fully understand. Don't cross check a dude to the head. No argument for me on that point.
No argument. Yes,
fully back that. But if the refs called the penalty 45 seconds before that, we would not need to be in this situation.
This is true. This is true.
On the other hand of things, Connor McDavid has enough money, and if he would like to donate that to the Edmonton music scene and help keep us alive, that would be awesome.
Shout out.
Just quiet plug. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like 3 games. Like I don't know. That's not. I was expecting more. Honestly, I thought they were going to kind of do like a pretty heavy one on him, but that's not too bad.
I mean, for a dude who's had one other suspension for 2 games, like what was it, 5 years ago or whatever? I think this is a very appropriate suspension to have. Yeah. Because this isn't a guy who's going out and headhunting. He's not aggressive. He's not doing any of this. He was frustrated. We've all been there.
Yeah, that's true.
I
But
I
yeah,
broke a kid's nose.
yeah, you fucking hey, you warned him. You warned him though. You warned
It
him like three
happens.
times.
Third strike, baby.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's reasonable, man. Like it wasn't like you just smacked him right away. You know, that would have been a different scenario of like, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was having so we're at the Ben Sir Memorial Show
Yes.
on Saturday, and I'm having a talk with a buddy there, and I told him the same story, and he goes, "You see, but that's something that just it's in Edmonton, it's a Canadian thing. You don't have these hardcore shows, you don't have these aggressive mosh pits to the same extent. Like this is a dude who's from New York." And he's like, I have kids that like I straight up would not let go to shows at certain venues because I know they're gonna get beat up. They're gonna come home with broken bones or bloody, or they're gonna get their ass handed to them because that's the way that hardcore shows are in New York. I'm like, that's fucking insane. End of story. Like, I'm fine with the violence. I like hardcore music. I understand it's part of the culture, but when you're genuinely scared to send people to those places, might be getting a little far.
That's true. I feel like I don't know. In my experience, it's always been good here. Like I have like yeah, I remember I think it was like an Under Oath show in high school when I was wearing my glasses and I got kicked in the face and the glasses are gone. And I immediately knew I'm like, yeah, those are gone. Those are done.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying. Those are
There's no fucking getting that back. But like I've had it lots where like I've fallen in a pit, right? And it's just like everyone is really good with picking you up, making sure you aren't getting trampled and shit. And even at like Silverstein, like because Dylan was there, he lost his wedding ring fell while he was in the pit, and and people were cool enough to be like, it's right there, it's good.
yeah, go,
Like
go.
yeah, I was just like, there you go. Like
I mean, that's
can be awesome.
the upside to these silicone ones, man. I got like 10 of them for $7.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Squishy.
Nice.
I mean, you heard the story that I dented mine on a bar cheering for the Oilers, so I don't actually wear my real one.
I lost mine long
Jesus.
time ago. Yeah. And yeah, I haven't been able to find it. Was a weird day. I went like I went and helped Dylan move to a new house. And then after that, I went over with my dad and Kyle to go to my cousin's like birthday thing. And then I stayed the night at my dad's, and within the span, it fucking came off somewhere.
Sure.
I retraced my steps, it's gone, man. I don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah. And I'll eventually I'll get a new one, but
You don't need it. You don't need it right now, so who cares? What are you flick? I keep seeing a flicker on my camera.
What's up with your camera? Yeah, it's like,
I think it's this. This every now and then is smacking the side, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm still now that I got the new office built in here. Why the fuck? Try that.
So are you? Yeah, I was gonna ask. Are you in the basement there?
Yes.
I found game over.
Yeah, no. We moved down. Obviously, since we have the house back, it's been like a big reno process in here. I'm gonna figure out which fucking input this is that's shaking. Give me 1 second.
No worries, dude. You can figure it out. I believe in you. It's weird, man. I wonder what input it is that's messing up on you.
There we go.
You think you figured it out?
It was just a very shitty loose USB connection. That's what happens when you build your own PC. Kids do better than I did.
It's fair. It's fair.
But yeah, no, obviously got the house back, and now that it's just Anna and I living here, we've been working on finishing the basement, like getting full bunch of renos done in here, and like I finally have a space to have an office in, so I have clearly all of my shit and like lighting stuff, photography stuff, all my music stuff's down here. Like it's really nice just to have a sanctuary where I can like come and like it by no means soundproof. If I turn an amp on, you're hearing it outside the house still.
No, of course, yeah.
But it's just nice to have the space to be able to do that again, and not be like cramped in a corner of a spare bedroom with a full other closet.
It's true. It's true. Because you guys just had the upstairs, so
yep. But no, now it's fully painted. I will, as of Saturday, have the bathroom down here finished. So like that's all done, which then means we are looking for a sectional and a on like a yoga mat to put an elliptical on, and then like the full basement is pretty much done, and then I get start working upstairs.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's nice. Again, going back to being an adult, like having the time and the space to be able to do this stuff and actually own and be proud of something that's yours.
Yeah.
It feels so good. It was the same thing when I started wearing a watch when I was like 28. It's like this made me feel like an adult again. And I said this too. So I went out for beers and watched some football over the weekend. I was talking to a buddy who was also at the Sum 41 show, and I said the same thing to him. Watching that show as like the farewell for Sum 41 is one of those integral moments where I finally feel like I am an adult. And it's mostly because the first show I ever went to was Sum 41.
I feel like that was for a lot of people. Yeah.
Right? Like I think it was like 11 or 12 or something like that. So whenever Chuck came out and it was at the Shaw, like I remember that show. I went there with my mom.
We all remember, man.
Yeah, it was great. But like that was
funny
the moment
because we were all there. We all tell these stories, but it's like it's funny. Like when you make friends as you grow up, you're like, oh, we were all there at the same time. Like me and you were there. We just didn't know each other. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Well, you and me especially. Like we started knowing each other 6 years ago, give or take.
Yeah.
And we got to think like both of us being a part of the music scene for how many years in this city, like. Yeah. We've probably been in the same room 1,000 times since I was 12 years old.
That's true, probably. We just had no fucking idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I didn't have a beard and you had the fucking swoopy hair. Like we were different humans back then.
That's true. Yeah, I remember seeing your fucking photos with you with no beard, and it's crazy.
Oh, it's fucking horrible. Like that's a big grow up point too. Is don't not grow facial hair, kids. Like if you want to look like a child for the rest of your life. And like I work with some people that are 22, 24 years old, and looking at them, I'm just like, no, man, you're like 30. You've got facial hair. It's fine. They're like, no, this is all the hair I've ever grown.
Well, I was going to say, I've noticed that, man. Like there is I don't know, like it's not everybody, but I'm seeing more and more people just not being able to grow a lot of facial hair.
Which is insane.
It's interesting. I don't understand it.
Especially living up here. Like, dude, it is so cold. If I didn't have this, like, I'm not going outside.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah, it's like, what's in the water? Why is everyone, like, not growing beards now?
Right. Well, like, again, we both grew up playing hockey. How many kids do you remember playing against when we were 12 that had a better mustache than your dad? Like, there used to be something in the water that made it so they looked older, and now they just took that additive out. I'm scrolling back here just so I can find this one. Wait, where? I can't even get it without a reflection because there's there
right there.
There we are.
Oh my god, you kind of. Oh fuck, you look. Can't put the name to who you look like there.
But like, there's no facial hair, so my whole face glows off the glare. Like that's insane. I don't like it. I also now dressing in the all black, I blend in a little bit better. It's kind of nicer.
That's fair. That's fair, man.
Colors are bad. I like one color. This side. I like that color.
I like that color. Orange.
Orange. Just orange. I love how I couldn't figure out.
Because of the bangles?
Yes. Well, that's the other thing. So, like, we're going to turn this over here. We got a Bengals one up there.
Yep.
We got my Bengals flag, the Violent Gents orange flag, the Who Day thing on your cab.
Nice. I guess you can say Oilers too, right? So
yeah. There's just none of that down here. That's communal in this house because Anne is now also a Oilers fan. So
you converted her.
Oh yeah, dude. So she was supposed to go to Calgary today, and she brought in Oilers deck. I'm like, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, you will die.
She was. We did have this joke. So obviously you've seen all the chaos of like the Philly sports fans fighting the Green Bay fans, or just dudes in a Toronto jersey in a Philadelphia like stadium, like all that shit. Yeah. Greatest idea for a reality show is dress former MMA fighters up in away team's gear and send them in and just see what happens.
Ooh, that's how I like that idea.
Right?
That'd be pretty entertaining. Yeah. All it takes is one drunk idiot to. That's the thing too. If you're super wasted, like you're gonna make the wrong choice.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how big the other person is. You're just gonna fucking do it.
Nope. That's how we live. That's how any of us kind of get to where we are.
Oh my god!
Just got to make mad mistakes.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Someone should do that. Just like do one clip, put it on like TikTok. See what happens.
Need to call like a Joe Rogan, a Dana White. One of those dudes has to know somebody willing to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Or just or even like a no-name kind of MMA fighter, like that no one would have any fucking idea, and it just
Right?
fucks you up.
It'd be fun. It'd be watchable. It'd be honestly the way that they did the Smile promos for the movie, and they just had creepy dudes behind baseball home plates. Same thing.
Right.
We'll it's storytelling for a movie, or it's the advertising for UFC 732 or whatever.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Fuck.
I don't know.
See?
I don't know what UFC we're on, so 700 sounds like pretty safe to be like that's upcoming.
Yeah, that's way down the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's funny. Yeah, no, you talking about doing renovation stuff. It made me think. There was a meme I got on Instagram. Remember Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes.
So it was a clip. It was a clip from that where fucking Hal comes in and after work or whatever, and he turns the light on. Light bulb doesn't turn on. He's like, undoes the light bulb. He goes in. He grabs the light bulb, and then he pulls the drawer and it's like squeaky. He's like, what the hell? And he goes and he gets some WD 40, and the WD 40 is empty. And he's like, oh god. So then he goes to the store, and then he turns his car on to go to the store, and he hears this weird sound in the car. and then his wife comes home, and she's like, Hal, did you change the light bulb? And he gets out from under the car. He's like, what do you think I'm doing right now? And so like once you find one thing, you find fucking like a million
Everything.
other things. Yeah. I'm like, God, that's my life every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm starting to do the bit where it's be responsible, try to do like one progressive thing a day, like to just be
Yeah.
moving forward at all times. Like I used to always talk, and like you're aware of it, that like if I ever stop doing things, like I feel like I'm a shark and I'm gonna die. Like I have to be doing something.
Yeah.
And like it's still to this point, like obviously starting all the stuff with MediaSicks and trying to like focus on growing that and like taking weird opportunities with that is more just I do love it. I love getting able to create stuff, but it feels like it's more of a cure for boredom than it is like this push to be a successful creator. Because I don't want to be the TikTok famous. I don't want to be the kind of person that everybody's like. We did a show with a country artist, and his photographer on the tour is more viral than he is for her TikToks. And that's just not something I want to be, but I want to be able to go out and create and do different things and try weird stuff that I've never been able to do before.
Yeah.
So I did photos for 10 years in schools. I've done the portrait side of it and done pretty and done all that, but I've always wanted to do the weird, the grungy, the dark, the dirty, the bloody. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm way more interested in, but I also don't want to just do it for the sake of like myself. Like I want to find the career that is going to be doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that too, because how long have you been wanting to like do that now that you've started to like you started MediaSicks there?
I didn't ever think it was something I could do.
Okay.
And like again, the whole reason that I got into like graphic design and photography when I was 19, 20 years old is like I was in the local music stuff, and I didn't know people that were doing this. There was like one or two names in the city that is like, oh, if you want photos, it's going to be Dana Zook, and you're going to go to her, and she's going to crush all the photos. But then everybody has photos from her. Or if you want somebody to design a shirt, there's these two people that in the city that'll do it, and that's it. Then everybody has the same kind of vibe for everything, and obviously, you know, in order to make it and grow, we had to do something that was different. So I was like, I'm going to go to school to be that extra piece. Even if I'm not doing it for anybody else, I'm going to be able to do it for me and for us and kind of have this difference and this uniqueness to us. And so that's when I got into it. And immediately out of college, I just had a job doing school photos. So I never had that in between time of the like self-discovery and all that. I was already working in it. And I like completely admittedly burnt out taking those photos. I would come home from an 8-hour day and not want to touch my camera. I didn't want to sit in front of a computer any longer. I didn't want to edit. I didn't want to design. I was just so creatively burnt out. And I would do it for the stuff that I needed to do it for when I was passionate, but I didn't want to do it on my own. And then, you know, 2 years ago when I walked away from that industry and kind of got like a quick refresh on everything, and I was away from everything creative, it started to be like, okay, well, I do miss this. This was something I really did enjoy. And it might be because it was a part of my life for 10 years. It might be just because I'm comfortable with it, but I was like, I'm going to at least like try this. And so working with LPW and getting the opportunities to go work for WWE, I was like, okay, this is something that like I can actually start reaching out to other people that are bigger than me. Like I can start shooting my shot and taking these chances instead of just like waiting for something to fall in my lap or like doing this mom and pop like little bit kind of thing. And so when I was kind of like sitting down, and I think I spent probably like 8 months of like going back and forth with like, oh, what about this name? What about this idea for branding? And just trying to find something that fit comfortably was ridiculous. Like I'm sure you're aware, like
Oh yeah.
the letters stuff or even Basement Kid, like just how you come down to like this is the name, this is the color scheme, this is all of that was like it just took so long. And I was trying to, I
Well,
don't
you can get burnt out from that too, right? Like especially like if you're going through it and you can't, and you're like, no, it's not good, it's not good. You're just like, fuck, I need to like to step away.
yeah. Well, that was it. Like I would come down, like I would go sit in my office and I would doodle. I would open Photoshop and try to design something just off a random word and just see if anything like caught my eye, or like I'd follow random creators on Instagram that like, oh, here's this logo that I made for nobody just as like a practice and experiment. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to recreate what you did and see how you did it to learn how I did this. And then I'm going to take that into something else and just little bits and pieces of moving parts to grow to it. And then at one point I came up with something that like, I can't even remember. One of the like suggestions, like names that was on the deck was Shutter and Steel, because like I work with metal musicians. I'm a photographer, but there's also like the wrestling side of things. Like it sounds edgy enough, and for whatever reason, wrestling photographers all have super long names.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like every wrestling company I come across that does photos, it's outside of like two dudes, and one of them is Ryan Loco, which like dude's just got a lucky name. Like if that's what you get to brand yourself as, like done. You can't go Nick Malychuk photography. Like it's too long.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody following that. And like it's a hard enough last name to spell. I still can't get people to spell it right. People throw Z's in there, second A's, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
The other one is a photographer out of Calgary called Slam YYC. And obviously I could have just taken Slam the Egg, but that doesn't feel right. Like doesn't feel genuine. And I'm trying to stretch past just being wrestling. Like I love doing the concert stuff and doing all of that. And so how do I tie those two worlds together? And when MediaSicks came up, I was just like, I was so over like trying to come up with photography or videography or content, like any of that. And so I literally was just like, what's the gist of what I'm doing? Well, I'm covering media, whether it be, and like I still do t-shirt printing, so I've got that media. I'll do print media, I'll do design work, I'll do photos, I'll do videos, like I'll do whatever. And I was like, okay, media. And like for years I was trying to figure out, like I've never had a nickname. I'm not sure if you fall into that boat too, but like I've always just been Nick.
Oh, you've never had like any
I've never had a nickname that I could fall back on. Like it's been Nick forever. When I went to high school, it was Nick M because there was two Nicks. Like that's kind of that's all there was. Like I didn't have this nickname that like all these other people do. And granted, I know some dudes that have horrible nicknames like Eyeballs and Gonchwash and Puke. Like I don't want one of those. No, but I'm like I kind of want like a nickname. And so the closest thing I could really get to was growing up playing football. Like in high school, my jersey number was 6. And the reason my jersey number was 6 is my high school didn't have a 15. And 15 was my dad's number through high school and college ball. And so I was just like, well, if I take the 1 and 5, it's 6. That number exists. I'm happy. And then also being in the 10th grade and thinking like Motley Crue was really sweet, I was like, oh, I'm Nick 6. Like there was a little bit of this correlation. So I was just like, okay, I kind of like that. But like, again, I didn't want like a flat number like in there. It just didn't, area codes and all that kind of shit, it didn't fit right. So I went with 6 spelt again phonetically, but the other way. So MediaSicks was just based off of a shitty football number I had 14 years ago. But it also it gave me that opportunity to play with branding where, like a full name bar where it's all written out and everything in there, or what it just is now, just the M6 in the messed up square. Like I just took something that was abstract enough that I could make it unique and do something cool with it without having to worry about it being like copywritten. Because I don't think anybody else is calling their company Six, spelled Sicks.
I don't think so.
Like you're gonna get the number, you're gonna get two X's, you're gonna get like
Yeah.
6 a.m. and all that kind of stuff, but you're not gonna get it out that way. The thing that bummed me the most is there is a wrestling faction in WWE called Wyatt Six that they all
Oh,
alleged
really?
was gonna have 6 people, but there's only 5 people, and it is spelt the same way.
Oh.
And so, like, again, obviously being a part of that world, there's a back and forth.
Yeah, true enough.
Mhm.
But anyone who isn't like into wrestling or not aware of that, I think
Exactly.
you're fine.
Yeah. No, it balances out really well.
No, yeah. Yeah, fucking yeah, I guess if you have a name like that, right? Like Nick or Thomas, Tom, Christopher, Chris, you're kind of it's just like that's your nickname basically. It's just
Right.
your name short.
Well, like I got a last name, like being the Ukrainian last name. Like, how do you change Malychuk to anything?
You can't. If anything, I remember in school, especially in sports, they would like people just calling you by your last name. You know what I mean? That was such a common thing.
And you and me just wind up with last names that don't shorten to anything nice.
No.
Like,
I mean, I had one fucking because if anything, it was usually like Brando. Brando was like always the common
yeah,
one. It was like, okay, take it and away. Sure.
yep, simple. It counts. It's shorter.
Yeah. Or I had people for a while, people would just call me B. Like that's it.
Yeah,
Or fuck, I had one guy at one job I worked at. He called me Pom Pom.
that honestly, like, it got a little creative in there. Like, I'm all for
Yeah,
that.
I was like, I don't mind that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I used to be the guy who came up with nicknames for everybody. Like that, so you can't give yourself a nickname, but like hiring
No,
a
you
new staff
can't.
every year, like I would bring in new staff and I would have to like, you know, differentiate them. We had one year that we had like a Kristen, a Carly, a Kirsten, a Caitlin, and a Katie all come in. And I was like, I'm not calling any of you by your real name. So they all got nicknames because I was like, it's the only way I'm going to be able to tell. And they stuck. Like it made sense to everybody. But we had one girl, and I don't remember her first name by any means. And like,
Yeah.
usually by the end of it, I would figure out which one's which, but it was just a lot easier for me at the start.
Okay.
I called her Squeak because she was quieter than a church mouse. She was super shy, like just super, like she wouldn't yell. She wouldn't try to talk over anybody. She was just there and she would wait her turn and say her bit really quietly. And like, that was it. So she was Squeak. Same year, like I had Cupcake, Bambi, Squeak, Beers. I can't remember the other one. I just had a brothers year after year, and I think I called both of them the wrong name. But I think I called
Nice.
both of them the same name.
Okay.
It was like Troy and Ryan, I'm pretty sure were their real names.
Mm.
And I think I called them both Brian.
Nice.
For no reason. I think I heard the dude's name wrong the first time, and he was the reason everybody got a nickname. And then his brother came in the next year and was like, yeah, you're still Brian.
You're still Brian, man.
That's how we're doing it. But I mean, like the closest I got was going into the tooth camp. Everybody for tooth runs a nickname. That's just how they all kind of differentiated each other. And so I got Warren going in there, like, we're going to need to get you a nickname, and never got one.
Never got one.
2 years working for those guys. I was the only one. I was just Nick.
No shit.
That's just how it lived. Like it was.
That's funny.
Dealey was the only one. He just got his last name. But I mean, your last name's Dealey. It's a good last name. Like you're running.
It's a
with
good
that.
last name. Yeah.
Yeah. Dealey, Club, Darkness, Osh, Condon, Pip, Darnold,
Darnold.
Danny Harvey, Darnold. Figure that one out. Shout out Danny Harvey, greatest sound guy in TM I've ever met. The Warden, Carl, Sertori, Jar, and then me. And so it was just like I didn't get. And then everybody would like try for like a day or two, and they're like, "Oh, this doesn't work. We'll call you Chucky." And it didn't. I think it lasted like 2 hours, like Malychuk. So
It
Chucky
lasted
like,
2 hours.
and then they just immediately forgot that they were calling me that, and it was just resorted to Nick, and it was like,
Did they try Chuck?
Well,
Just Chuck? I think
yeah,
Chuck
it
would
just-
have been better than Chucky.
right? But I mean, like it could have worked. Maybe one day it will, but like it's still nobody really. It's Nick. That's just what it is,
That's what it is, man.
right? I will say there is a couple people now that like the MediaSicks thing is out there. People call me just straight MediaSicks or just Six, which like is
Okay.
it's a little bit better, but it's also like again, my dad used to call me by my jersey numbers growing up, like.
Oh,
When I was playing hockey and it was 15, he called me 15. When I was football season, I was 6. And then when it was off season, he just didn't talk to me.
he just didn't talk to you.
That's a lie. I got the greatest dad ever. It's awesome.
Unless I was playing some kind of sport.
Honestly, I feel like the reason that I am the way I am is because I played sports. No intention of ever making it pro. I fucking sucked across the like. I was not a AAA hockey player. I was not a tier 1 football player. That was never going to be me. But like the discipline and the scheduling that went into like being able to like, I've got to commit to. I've got to commit to a practice schedule. I've got to commit to going to these games because there's other people that are on that team that are relying on me. That I took that kind of mentality into music and into to working on the behind the camera and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think that's something you can learn really anywhere else until you are part of a team sport.
It's true. Team sports they're good for that for sure.
Yeah.
Discipline, all that stuff. Like that's the nice thing Hudson with hockey. Like he's loving it. Yeah, I do think it's going to be beneficial just for that kind of shit in the future. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like fuck, we just finished like minor hockey week. What a gong show, dude.
Every year. I don't care what anybody says. Minor hockey week is horrible.
Well, it was because like U9, like because he was in U9 last year. So that U9 is just like, oh, you play like a couple games. That's it. The U11, once you get to full ice, then it's like, okay, no, minor hockey week's like a fucking tournament now.
Yep.
And you're like, oh shit, okay.
When you get the worst schedule, like you'll be like, okay, I'm playing at 8 a.m. this day, and then I'm playing at 10 p.m. the same day. And you just have to like wait around arenas all day.
He didn't have to do that, which was nice.
Oh, you got very lucky.
Like there were some morning games, and then there was because basically it was like he played 3 games, right? So it's like, okay, if we win this, we play this day, or if we lose, we play this day, whatever. So they won all 3 of their games, so they go to the finals. I was like, oh shit, okay. The semifinal game, dude, like it's U11, like there's no checking, there's nothing like that, right? The other team, it was another Sherwood Park team, and there's one kid on there, a bigger kid, like he's obviously like their best player. He's pretty quick, but fuck, like he was very physical. Like he was just taking kids out. He's getting so many penalties, and they were such poor sports after because we beat them like 4-1, and it was just like they wouldn't like bump fists and stuff. I was like, oh come on, man, like. And then the like each game was really close too, but the final one we faced like a team from Devon, and fuck man,
farm kids, man.
Yeah, dude, and like there's like one kid on that fucking team, and like he's the only one with a red helmet. You know where he is. It's right there. Get him.
I know that kid. Like that's just how it always is. I remember growing up, and like again, growing up in St. Albert, we had the same thing. So like I would go. This made no sense to me, but almost every year that I played, I wound up on a team with most of the same kids in like my same elementary or junior high or whatever. And we would always wind up playing other St. Albert teams that most of their kids all went to the same school. So it's this weird like niche thing. There's one kid that I don't remember until like I remember him in like 9th grade or something like that. He switched schools. But I remember playing him every year growing up because we were always on opposite teams. Never played hockey together. But he was the kid with the red helmet who was cocky and everything. So the first year contact was put in. I lit this kid up, and I was like, good. Like that was again, we're house league hockey players. We are not going to the show. Yeah. I'm out here to like have a good time. And this kid had to be
this is my show.
He had to be the best kid on the ice, and he would show off. But like again, I got a suspension the first year or the year before contact was involved because I hit a kid.
Oh, okay.
And I remember it was in Bourneville. I remember the barn. I remember the ref's face. Like I have no idea why like an 11-year-old like me was as pissed off as he was, but I drilled a kid and then got tossed for it and got like a 2-game suspension. But then the next year, obviously, like, oh, you already know how to hit. So I got put onto a team with a bunch of people that were learning how to hit. And like every practice, I would just drop shoulders into kids. And I'm 5 foot tall on skates at that point. I'm 100 pounds. Like I'm not big, but I'm the same size as everybody else. And I would just cannonball, like go full speed and throw shoulders.
Yeah.
I blew my knee out. My back's still fucked up. Like I got hit just as much as I hit back. Like
No, of
that was the
course,
whole
yeah.
part of the game. So it was fun, but like it was like a whole learning experience kind of was of like again you fuck around you find out. Hockey taught me so much of how to be a grown up and how to be like a real human and how to take like so many skills that I again as a kid you never think are transferable. Like oh because I can play on a line in hockey and I know when I can hit somebody shouldn't translate to being a 30-year-old guy who's like hey man if somebody tells me to fuck off there's probably a good reason I'm not going to get hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it just those skills were never something I thought would be transferable, and here I am, and I'm like using a lot of that shit every day. Fuck learning math. I don't use math near enough, but like learning hockey, that shit taught me a few things.
Yeah, no, sports is important. That's the other thing with Hudson too. Like math is like his best subject. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Surprisingly, his best subject is French.
The fuck kind of warlord are you raising over there?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I hated French. I fucking hated it.
I did
Not
my
French.
3 years. I did my 3 years and I called it. I was not doing anymore.
Oh yeah, as soon as junior high hit, I'm like, see you later.
Yep. We're we're scrolling through Prime or something last night trying to find something to put on, and Prime for whatever reason is super glitchy, and it showed like the synopsis of a show or a movie it was an English movie. There was no subtitles, no dub, but the synopsis was written in Spanish, and I had to look at Anne and be like, what is happening here? Can you translate it? And she's like, I can read it. Couldn't tell you what any of it actually says, but she can read it out. She's like, I took 10
Okay.
years of Spanish. Don't know a word, but I know how to read it.
Oh, so she can like, yeah. So if she sees it written out, she can understand it.
She can translate it, like, or she
Yeah.
can say it, like, read it, but she can't translate it to whatever,
Oh,
like, it
okay.
actually is. So she, like, read it out, and I was like, what's that mean? She goes, I have no idea. So that's,
No clue.
yeah. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be good or not. And then I put something else on that was in, like, Dutch. And I was like, it doesn't, that's another just quick rant about shit that, like, going on to Costco and making it 18 up for, like, 4 hours. If Netflix and all that could put a filter on, because, like, I don't want to scroll through, find something that looks really cool and then it be in a
It's like
foreign language with no
fucking
dub.
yeah, yeah. I know.
And like the synopsis is in English. Like, I'll just give me a little writing of like what the main language is in it next to
Yeah.
it, so I know going in like, oh, I can't. I'm not going to understand this.
It's
I wish
true.
I could.
I've come across many of those where it's like, this looks fucking cool, and then it's like, damn it.
Well, like
It's like a weird
Squid
French
Game.
movie.
Squid Game has a great dub over it. It's amazing and it's awesome and like love
I can't
watching
do the
it.
dub. I will watch it and I'll do subtitles because I find it way better than the dub.
I do a lot of
like the speaking. I'm just like, hey, this is real.
I do a lot of like passive watching. I feel like I'm listening to it, but I'm not like super focused on like what's actually there. Like I'm paying attention. I know what's going on, but I don't have to be watching it.
Yeah.
So I need the words out loud and not just written.
Gotcha. You're just like, I can't fucking read right now.
Well, and not even that. I don't know if I can read to begin with. We've had that conversation. I might be illiterate.
I might be illiterate.
I have a college
I don't
degree.
know.
It's fine. I don't need to read anymore.
Oh fuck. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. But no, like that's like if they could just have like a little note next to it, and like instead of a rating system, just be like, this film is in French. I'd be like, cool, skip.
Yeah, pretty much like because they'll lump it with everything, which is like that's where it messes you up.
Mhm.
God damn it! Like why is it beside like all this other shit I watch?
It's like here's Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
Here's Fast and Furious 2, and in the middle here is Les Mis without
Les
a
Mis.
translation.
yeah, no shit.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Fuck yeah, Les Mis or there's like some weird German ones too. Although the
Yeah.
German ones aren't bad. German ones I
Yeah.
can watch. They're pretty good. There's like that one war one. Fuck, what was that called? Something at the front. Oh god, it was like fucking won a shit ton of awards.
I know what you're talking about, and I cannot think of the name.
Yeah, it's bothering me. I fuck yeah, because that was one that was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of the name. But fuck yeah, man. Like I don't know. You and Ann got like besides her not going to do the other show here now.
Yeah.
Do you guys got any more shows that you're going to be doing?
We are working Kerry King here on Thursday. So like we're home for it. I'm gonna be at the venue from like 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. So I'm doing some stagehand stuff, and then I'm obviously doing like my usual front of house managerial duties. Apparently, that's my job title. I learned that on New Year's Eve. That was kind of cool.
Nice.
Um, yeah, got that. And then Friday, I'm working the Oil Kings LPW game.
Oh, of course, yes.
So like I've got a busy one on that, which will be a ton of fun. Just getting to film in Rogers is so cool. And it's weird because
Yeah.
they kind of I get a weird like carte blanche out of it. They kind of just are like, yeah, just do whatever you want. Like don't walk into a dressing room, obviously, but like go hang out. And since last January and last time we did one of these, I've worked at Rogers for like 5 other shows, and so I've just like gotten really used to the inside of that building in the back end. So it's nice to kind of go back in somewhere that is familiar and it is comfortable and just roll through it instead of like I do miss the tour lifestyle of waking up and figuring it out every day, but like being comfortable in a place is so much nicer. When
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fair.
like scrambling trying to find a washroom, like I just know where everything is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, like that bit was really cool. Like I got to do it for was it in the last year was Oil Rumble or Tool, Avril Lavigne, and something else. Oh, CCMAs. So I was in there for like 10 days for that, just kind of watching them build that whole show from the ground up.
Oh wow.
So that was awesome. But yeah, I've got that on Friday. Then next week I have my usual like end of every month working LPW, so I got 2 shows for that. Then I'm waiting for my schedule to get like fully released. There was talk about working merch for Peach Pit in Calgary and Edmonton, but haven't heard any final on that one. And then obviously, like I'm getting set up. LPW is running our first show in Calgary at the beginning of March, which is a completely again going into a new room, learning how lights are going to work, learning like where everything's going to be, how I'm going to have to film. It's a big challenge for stuff because again, I've gotten really comfortable. I go and I
Mm.
shoot Starlight, I shoot Midway, I shoot Union. I know what each of those rooms are. I know what the lighting looks like. I know my best ins and outs of the entire venue. Where I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk into a room I've never seen before and have to shoot. This is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, man. That's good.
Yeah.
So what they're doing? What like is this is like they're starting to branch out to Calgary now?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. We got word yesterday. I think it was yesterday. One of our flying stars broke her leg in 3 places and had to get surgery, so she's
Oh,
probably shelved for a little bit. It's somebody we've had in 3 times before. She's become a really good friend with all of us. And like I got to do a bunch of promo photos for her last time she was here. So I'm kind of talking about potentially doing some prints to like help raise money. She's a fully independent wrestler from the States. So like try to sell some prints, make some money and help support her like through her what I'm expecting to be probably an 8 month recovery period to like be able to walk again and do full like motion and take bumps. And
jeez.
so she's fully out of work for the next 8 months. So Alley Catch, get better soon. We'll have you back here very quickly.
What?
But
So what happened? Like a match? Is that what happened?
yeah, she was wrestling Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, took a dive and just kind of landed wrong way on her ankle, snapped her tib and fib.
Damn.
And so obviously like had to get hauled out of there. I think they did manage to get her out walking, like it wasn't stretchered out because she was conscious, obviously, but word got out that night that she was in the hospital and they weren't sure what the x-rays were going to say. And then by Sunday morning or Monday morning, they announced that she had already undergone surgery and was just waiting to kind of see how everything took.
Jeez.
But
That's crazy.
dude, it's anybody who says wrestling is fake is wrong. Wrestling can be scripted,
Yes.
but nothing that those people are doing is fake. I've pulled thumbtacks out of guys before. I've like watched concussions and wounds open up and seen people get taken to the hospital for stitches and broken bones. So I've like you've seen some very tame stuff that we've run before.
Yeah.
There's been some nights that like I'm glad I just have to hold a camera.
Yeah, fair.
Like, and even that, I've taken my share of shots. I've been kicked in the face and in the gut and all that. You get too close sometimes. It happens, but
Okay.
like I'm watching dudes fall off 8 foot ladders onto what is essentially an inch of foam and wood.
Yeah,
It's still gonna hurt no matter what. So
it's true.
yeah,
Fuck.
but it is like getting to go and do some of those events. Like I've seen it from the indie level and the stuff that I've worked, and I've been able to go and shoot the pinnacle of it with WWE. I've done a local, like, or not even a house show, but a SmackDown show, and go and shoot a pay per view in Vancouver and see
Pretty
just like the
sweet.
different caliber of it all. And it's crazy to see. Like, it's same as going to shows, man. Like, I've done the small independent local shows that I've put on, and I've seen how some of these festivals are run that are doing like incarceration, and there's 25,000 people there.
Yeah.
And really, it's the same like four things you have to know. It's just different scale.
Yeah, that's true. True enough. That's pretty sweet though that you're getting to do all that stuff. So like, are you just strictly doing all this shit now? Are you done with like the other job?
I have not actually had a real job in about 18 months.
I thought you
I've
went back to the other one though, or they hired you back.
so fun story.
Okay,
I'm not gonna name drop companies because that's a little
Yeah.
outside of
Yeah.
some NDA stuff. But I did get hired back to work for what was essentially a competitor. And I showed up. I was me and one other person from my former team that like her and I still like she works for me with all the LPW stuff. She's one of the best photographers that I trust wholeheartedly. Her and I both got hired back at the same company. She mentioned that she talked to somebody there, put my name in, they called me. We both show up. We show up for our first day of training. The mandated training was a week. It was for some reason they wanted to start at 7 a.m. at a community hall in the West End, which was just for a job that I'd done for 10 years, felt like overkill to do 40 hours of training without an actual subject. But so we get down, do the training. I walk in, sit down the first day, and again, this is my appearance. I have never once tried to be something I'm not and like dress up informally. I wear minimal branding as much as I can when I'm going to work. I don't want to obviously like go in there with a stone cold shirt that just says fuck you and middle fingers. That's not my thing, but I'm also not going to come in like a full collared shirt, suit, slacks, dress shoes. That it makes me uncomfortable. I'll do it for weddings and when people kind of like that I care about request it, but for a job that's just coming in and being like, listen, man, you take pictures, 3-piece suit, not my bag. Just not. I'm not going to be comfortable. I'm going to make my kids uncomfortable because kids can just tell. So I'll wear a plain black hoodie or a plain black t-shirt, something. But I'm wearing pretty much nothing, like just a t-shirt that I think said Bengals on it and like a hat because it's a hot summer day and I work outside. Immediately, the owner of the company comes in wearing like a Stussy t-shirt and a Yankees hat, and he's got shoes that are worth more than my car and like Nikes on. And I'm just like, okay, dude gets it. Like, this is great. For no reason at all, out of the 12 people in the room, he decides to pick on me for my appearance, my tattoos, my nose ring, my beard, like anything physical about me, he just decided to make fun of.
Wow.
And it got to the point that I'm like, okay, but we're dressed the same. And he goes, yeah, but I have a brain tumor, so I get to wear this hat because I don't want my head to make people uncomfortable. And I was just like, I don't care. This makes me comfortable. Like, just immediately 10 minutes in, me and the owner of the company who hired me knowing that I look like this are just at odds. So I just kind of like, whatever, roll my eyes, get through this week of training. The end of it all, and like through all of it, he is belittling me. He's belittling anybody in that room on their experience or lack thereof. There was one moderately attractive woman from Calgary that was up that was single. Everybody else was in a relationship. And he said everything she did was amazing because she was single and hot. And it was just like, you could tell this dude was just, that was his whole forte. Couldn't stand him. We collectively all wrote emails to like the management team back in Ontario about like, this is very inappropriate. We don't believe in this guy. Like, if he ever comes back, you know, there's going to be probably some HR related lawsuits about how he treats people. And they're like, oh, we'll do an investigation. We'll do an investigation. Nothing ever got done. So I'm already on like a bad term with this company a weekend before I've done anything. I think I wound up working 2.5 schools in the span of 2 weeks, which is abysmal on hours when I'm promised full time. So I had issues with that. And then it just wound up being like one day I'd worked 10 hours at a high school getting stuff done, finished my day, packed up. My boss wanted to have a meeting because following that was the Metallica shifts. So we obviously had our time booked off so we could go work Metallica, which still,
Yeah.
can we talk about the fact that you and I got to say we worked for Metallica? That's pretty fucking
That's pretty
sweet.
cool fact. That's
Right?
pretty
That's
sweet.
awesome. And like, we worked together. We both weren't just like around.
That's
We
true.
worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I go, I do this, I tell her I'm gonna take the time off for this because like this is something I booked 6 months ago. And the money was way too good to justify having to work like a 4 hour day instead of it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, nope, not doing it. I'm telling you now I'm taking this time off. And she just wasn't having it, whatever. And so she's like, well, we need to have a meeting. And I was like, okay, well, just so you know, I've already worked 10 hours. Like, if we could make it quick so you're not paying me more overtime. She's like, we only get paid for 8 hours today anyway. And they just kiboshed any resolution. They were like, nope, if you can't do the job in 8 hours, like, you have to stay and work for free. And I was like, that's not at all how this works. And got in a huge fight and pretty much just like walked out that day.
Yeah.
And then, so like, fortunately, I do have the fallback working with Midway and being like on hand as a front of house manager there. That, you know, when we have shows and it's a busy season, I'm working, 16 shows a month, and it's awesome. January, a little bit different. Missed 2 shows because of Sum 41 and Work Stays Down release party, which I would rather do either of those two for free than work like the U of A engineering battle of the bands.
Fair.
That was a thing. That was a thing.
Oh shit! Engineering battle of the bands.
Yeah, it was. They do a fundraiser every year, but all their engineering disciplines put together musical acts and battle against each other, and they sell tickets to fundraise for it.
Interesting.
Instead, I was at Sum 41. I would rather be at Sum 41.
Oh yeah.
Right. We did wind up going to Midway afterwards to have a quick shifty and kind of laugh about it all. But yeah, like this month I work one show there, just because like my schedule outside of it hasn't really let it happen. But like going into next month, I know it's going to be busier, and March picks up more, and it's a lot of fun knowing that I have this safety net that I do working concerts consistently. To be able to like justify trying to do MediaSicks and trying to do a lot more of this, because like I never thought working in the music industry would pay. I did the touring thing for 10 years, and the most money I made was when I wasn't with my own band.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing, right? When you live that life and you kind of fucking have an idea on how much you get paid, you're like, yeah, there's no way you're making a living.
But like I also didn't ever think I would be capable of working on the back end. Like I thought for years I was going to be a tour dog. I was going to be a road dog. That's where my where I was supposed to be, where I was like destined to wind up, was on a bus 10 months a year working for somebody else.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be in a position where I'm working these shows as lead content creator for wrestling, and I'm getting to go and work in almost any concert I could ask for free. Like, I'm not having to pay my way into these shows. I think outside of like 4 really big shows in the last 4 years, I haven't paid to go to a concert because I've been working. And I've gotten to see every act that I can ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sum 41, no VIP package. I thought about applying for a photo pass, but it just wasn't like, I didn't want to be obligated to be in a certain spot for that show. I wanted to be able to like experience it.
Yeah,
as a person. That was one of those ones that was important to me. But look, we've got Jelly Roll coming to town in 2 months, and I'm probably going to put in for a photo pass for that. I'm applying to actually work the whole tour.
Nice.
Just it's one of those ones that I know you're running 8 Canadian dates, and how many Americans aren't allowed over the border, especially with the state of how the country is right now. Like, who knows how things are going to go?
Yeah.
So putting my name in the hat to go work that and be alongside some friends and just kind of hang out and see, again, big caliber stuff. Yeah. Working the Country Thunder festivals over the summer, I learned a different caliber of how merch is operated. I'm doing $120,000 a day instead of, hey, I might make $1,000 tonight.
Yeah, true.
It's crazy. I lost so much weight. I don't know if I sent you the picture when I was in that tent, but like,
no,
we open our merch at 3 p.m. every day. I'm on site at 10 a.m. with Anne. Anne was obviously doing like merch management. I was just assisting with the whole process. Yeah. But we had for Luke Combs $120,000 worth of product. We sold out of it. About 70,000 of that was hoodies, and it was 30.
Oh no, I remember you. Yeah, I remember you talking
It
about
was
this show.
37 degrees outside, and so the tent that they put us in, because we didn't have anywhere, we didn't have a trailer for backstock. Everything was in with us, so the entire tent was insulated in hoodies, and we were just cooking. But like, I'm in there in like cut off denim shorts, shirtless, sweating buckets. I lost 10 pounds in a weekend in just sweat because like I could not. It was so hot.
Jesus.
But like
That's
again, it
crazy,
was
man.
I never would have thought like I missed the era of working Warp Tour. I was too young and like Canadian to have the opportunity to go out and actually do the full tour.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things. Like I got to do it for 2 different weekends on these massive scale shows and just sell. And between that and then going and working Marcus King with Anne in October and doing, I think I did 6 shows in 10 days or something like that. Those 3 events alone have pretty much bankrolled a lot of the opportunity that I've had to go out and buy the gear, buy the gear that I've needed to be able to go and actually attempt to be an independent photographer and videographer. And because of those opportunities, I've been working with, like I worked with Teeth and Norman Jean. I went back and I found like I've worked with Royal Tusk, who are shout out local all-star Edmonton boys. I see that 10-second epic record. You're on the right page. um, but I've just had these opportunities for things that I never thought I would be able to do here. I didn't think I would have the friends that I have, and I didn't think I would have all these colleagues that are doing cool shit all the time that I can just be like, hey, I would like to partake. And they're like, yes, do it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It is like a very, very supportive network of people.
Yeah, I find that, yeah, I don't know. Especially around here, I feel like that's kind of how it is. Obviously, there's people that, you know, you have your gripes with that obviously things don't work out. But for most of the people that we've known through the scene and other stuff, everyone's pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, again, I'm in a situation as a photographer and as somebody who's trying to do stuff. Like, there's 4 real big wrestling promotions in the Edmonton area, and they compete with each other.
Yeah.
But I also have like a very interesting bit where I can go to each of these promotions, or I can go to each of these venues. I can go to Union Hall, I can go to Midway, I can go to Starlight and be like, hey, I want to take pictures here. And they're all just like, yeah, we'd love to have that. They're all excited. I can go to another photographer that's competing with me and be like, hey, what are you doing different than I'm doing? And that's why your shit looks this way. Not necessarily better, not necessarily worse, but like your eye is different than mine. Could you talk me through this process? I learned recently how to edit videos. And it's something I learned in university, but it was never something I wanted to do. I wanted to be a still images guy. And unfortunately, the way the world kind of is and the way content is taken in, everybody wants video, a lot of short form stuff, just quick 30-second clips and all that. So I've had to learn all of that. But because I have the people that like around me and know the people I know, I've been able to just be like, hey, I don't understand how to do this. Can you? And they'll like jump on a call and just kind of explain this to me. When we were out on tour with Marcus King, his videographer, and I had like a brief half-hour conversation, and I learned more in that half hour than I did in 8 months in university. Just this real quick. He's like, you're learning shit you don't need to worry about. Here's the X, Y, and Z of getting to there. And this is a kid who is a fucking prodigy. It's like 23 years old. He's directing like Call of Duty commercials and shit like that. Yeah, dude. Have you, because again, we're going back to us being old.
Yes, we're old, yeah.
The trailer on it's like CBC or Global or whatever for Dr. Odyssey, the weird medical show on a boat.
Oh yeah, okay.
He shot that in his backyard.
Really?
Yeah, he showed me like the behind the scenes and the B-roll and all of this stuff when we were there. He's like, yeah, this is like my day job is I do commercials.
No shit.
And then he's like, yeah, I've never toured before. I thought I would try this. It seemed fun. Mm-hmm. Like, again, absolute prodigy. But this is a dude that, like, when I was learning how to edit, I was like sending him cuts and being like, what do you think of this? Is this too busy? Is this too much? Like, all of these kind of things. And he was like, don't do this, change this with this, and it's going to work way better. And he was right.
Yeah.
And this is such a subjective industry, but like, it was really cool to have somebody who was like, just try this. And then I liked it better. He liked it better. And arguably the band liked it better. They didn't know there was a different version of it, but they were happy with what they got. So I'm saying they liked it better.
That's fucking sweet, man. Oh,
Yeah.
good for you, dude. I'm glad you're doing your own shit and stuff and all the opportunities you've gotten. It's awesome. Like, especially seeing all your photos and everything. It's like, okay, good. You're doing your shit.
Well, I was so scared for so long. Like I didn't want to, and for no reason. Like I don't
Yeah.
know why I was worried about like taking these opportunities and attempting to like do this stuff on my own. I always thought like, oh man, I'm going to ask somebody and they're going to say no. And like more often than not, somebody's been like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to somebody being like, hey man, I want to take your picture. Pay me $500. I'm just like, hey dude, I do this. Are you cool if I do this? And they go, yeah. It's like sweet. I'm trying to convince Midway to let me do a little bit more in a professional style of actually like taking and posting and managing a bit more of the social media there and going on payroll as the house content guy.
Okay.
But obviously, like working with Live Nation, it's a fucking nightmare.
True.
But they
True.
do still just let me come in and take pictures, so I'm not complaining about it. I would just
Yeah,
like
that's
to,
fair.
eventually get to that next level and see these guys that are doing it professionally. That, Alan Bremner, buddy from Calgary. We worked together on how many different projects through years. Is still doing some of the coolest shit I've ever seen. And this is just a kid from Calgary. Like he was a
Yeah.
big, big, big inspirational push to like, oh, he's doing this. Well, why can't I do this? And I started
Yeah.
kind of doing that. I thought you had to be from like LA or New York to make it as this kind of guy, but
It's funny when you grow up, right? Like the things that get put in your head or what you think. And
mhm.
you honestly, what it is you just psych yourself out. That's what it is.
No,
And then once you actually do it, then you're like, oh, this isn't actually that bad.
no, like, and that's like, and end of the day too is like, anything that I've done, like the worst thing somebody can tell me is no.
That's it. That's it. That's what it is, man.
And like, okay, cool. And I know 1,000% my style and the way that I work and the product I put out does not work for everybody.
Of course.
You couldn't Taylor Swift couldn't call me and be like, "Hey, I want you to come," and she's not going to be happy with it. I don't do pretty, I don't do clean, I do stuff that is edgy and grungy and dark. And I'm sure, like, given the opportunity, if Swizzle came and asked me to come shoot the Eras tour, I would make pretty stuff and I would put the work in and I would learn how to do it. But just what I do for myself and what I've been working on and growing isn't pretty. I don't want to go and shoot a wedding and make a bride look ethereal. That's just not my thing.
Gotcha.
Even Ann and I, like, obviously, we're both like, got purple hair. We've got tattoos, like piercings. Like, that's just, we like dark. We like cryptic. We like weird and moody and all that. And even our wedding photos, whenever we get them done, there's going to be a couple that are pretty. I'm sure of it because you have to.
Oh, of course. Of course.
But
Yeah.
I'm also going to go to photographers that I trust and I like their style as something that is not pretty,
Yeah.
not clean, not crisp.
Everyone has their thing, man.
Right? So I
Yeah,
got
that's
weird shit with like a heart painted or an eye painted on a heart on that side. There's a skull here. Like,
yeah.
just that's not. I'm not going to be sitting here and editing like a fucking fairy princess. It's just not going to work for me. You are what you
Yeah.
surround yourself with, and I'm
True.
unfortunately all this messed up stuff.
All this dark shit.
It's how it
Oh fuck.
works, but it is. I learned, and it was one of those things. Like I never thought like doing things the way that I did because I'm not commercial. I'm not going in and doing the kind of stuff that like when I was in university and we were doing these photo shoots with Marvell College that had to showcase hair and makeup. I thought
Mhm.
that was the only way to make money as a photographer was doing these magazine shoots and all this. And
Yep.
then again, yeah, growing up and realizing like, oh no, people will pay just to have you like take cool photos and then can throw them on Instagram.
Yep. That's all it takes, man.
Right. There's a dude out of Calgary that like is again just absolutely crushing it. He comes up here every couple of weeks, it feels like, and does some really cool shoots up here. And again, his style is phenomenal. His work is amazing. It's nothing I could ever do because
Yeah.
it's just not my world. And I would call Jamie anytime to come take my photos, and I would be very happy with them. But if he asked me to take his pictures and I edited them my way, I don't think he would like them.
That's funny how that is, eh? Just everyone
Right.
has their own fucking thing. Yeah. I don't know. You're good at your own thing. That's what it is. You know,
It's that
like if everyone was the fucking same, it'd be boring as hell.
exactly. It's that shitty. Do you remember the PSAs when we were growing up? The everybody's got to have a thing. What's your thing?
Oh,
I'm a T Rex.
yeah, I'm a T-Rex.
That's exactly it. And like again, it took me 20 years after seeing those commercials to like realize that I didn't have to be everybody else and I didn't have to follow suit. And sometimes it's going to get you burned. Sometimes it's not going to work out. Sometimes people aren't going to be all for it. But those times that it is and the times that it does pay off, it just feels so much better.
Oh,
Like
100%.
I genuinely want to frame the first email I got from WWE saying, "Yeah, we'd like to have you come take pictures."
You should frame that.
It's an email. It feels weird and feels kind of cheap to do it. If it was a letter, if it was like, there's something physical, I can just screenshot it and save it on the computer, and I'm fine.
That's true. You could just do that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We're past the letter days, man.
I miss that shit, man. Like, I'm again working as a front of house dude and working with Ticketmaster and Ticketmaster being like, "No, we're going paperless." Is fucking sucks, man. Like, I'm sorry, but like,
and the physical tickets and everything.
give me that. Give me something malleable again. Malleable, tactile.
Yeah, man. I remember probably somewhere I still have some just like fucking old ticket stubs of shows that I went to when I was younger.
Dude,
somewhere.
So my dad's favorite artist of all time is Bruce Springsteen. So like getting to see the show with him was like really cool. I found on eBay a ticket stub and an all access pass from the first show my dad ever saw Springsteen at the Tacoma Dome in 1986 on the Tunnel of Love tour. Like I learned way too much about this show growing up. Like that was the show my dad went to. So I found these on eBay and I bought them for him for Christmas and I put them in cases and like he'd have it on his desk or on the wall or whatever he's going to do with it. And he opens it up and he opens them up in the right order where he gets the ticket stub first, then he gets the all access pass. And I was like, this is cool. Except he looks at me and goes, "Oh, did you go in the shoebox and find my ticket stub?"
Oh, fuck.
That's and I was
hilarious.
Like, son of a bitch. Like, of course he still has it. Like,
of course. Yeah. He's like, oh,
like not, it's just a random one I spent $17 on eBay for you, but now at least you have two. I don't know. Like, good job.
Yeah, you could lose one. You got another one.
Yep. I guarantee you, he has no idea where his is. He knows it's in a shoebox, but he doesn't know which one.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It's something that'll be found much, much later.
Yeah. I'm not sure if your dad's like this, but like my parents have a room in the basement that is just storage boxes.
Yep.
And like they know what's in each of the boxes, but there's no labeling.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
The day that my parents eventually or might pass, I'm still not sure my parents are gonna die. I'm not sure I'm gonna die. I think I'm just gonna keep going.
That'd be cool.
But the day that like it's all over and I have to go in and clean that house out, I'm gonna be so lost. Oh, like I'm gonna have to go through every single drawer and bin and cupboard and be like, what's in this one? Yeah. And then go through each individual piece. Because again, like I've got one shelf of records. My old man would have this thing filled twice over, just in records.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, great, I'm gonna have to go through all of that. And then there's the CD collection on top of it and all my mom's Christmas decorations.
Oh yeah.
Who
knows what else?
Like, I was so unaware that you weren't supposed to just like have things out on display at all times. I recently learned that you can rotate the stuff that you display.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why you would. When I buy like a poster or something and I hang it up, I don't think, oh, I'm going to take this down in 2 months with an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought that either.
Yeah. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what, who says that?
Mi madre. This is what I've learned. Again, being in the process of renovating stuff, she's like, well, where are you going to put this? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, well, it doesn't matter because you can put it up and take it down. I'm like, that's not how that works. Once you put something up, it's up. It doesn't come down. We don't rotate these things out. And she's like, that's what we do. And I was like, this is insanity.
Yeah.
My mom's the kind of woman to go around to like each picture frame in the house like every 6 months and be like, this is an old one, this is a new one, and just like switch them out.
I could never do that.
Never.
Maybe like randomly change one picture like after like 5 years or something.
Right.
That's pretty much it, man. Fuck.
As we're talking about it, where the did I put these? Damn. I found, so obviously in the process of moving everything down here, I was finding bits and bobs from memories past this time. There it is.
What you find?
I found this.
Oh shit!
Right?
Look
There
at
you
that
are.
guy.
Right?
Where the fuck was that?
At the audio department.
The audio department.
There's that guy too.
Oh, nice.
When we were tracking shit.
That's
But
right. I
I
remember
was like
now.
flipping through and I was just like, oh, these photos. Like I finally got those cameras developed.
Oh fuck, that's funny. I remember
Right?
seeing like some online at the time. I didn't know you had fucking.
Oh, dude, I have.
Oh my god.
It's one of those things, man. Like I don't enjoy shooting film by any means, but I will
Yeah.
go and buy those disposable Kodak cameras and
Yeah.
like take them around. And I learned after Ben's passing, and like I'm very upset that it took me that long, that I don't have a lot of photos with people. Like I have photos of people on like SD cards and on hard drives and shit. I don't have a lot of tactile photos of friends, so I'm like trying really hard to like make sure I take photos with a disposable or a Polaroid or even print the photos that I have. And I'm trying really hard this year, especially to like take more photos with people.
Yeah. Yeah. Moments like that too, right? You lose somebody, and then like, you kind of like clue in on that because you kind of take that for granted, like especially if you're a person who doesn't like taking photos or something. But down the road, it's just like, so what? Like near the end, there's going to be like no fucking photos of you with anybody.
Right? Well, and
Just
like
kind of sad.
being a photographer, like I'm the guy that takes the pictures.
Yeah, you're
So
behind the camera.
I don't think about it 90% of the time. Like I'm so more focused on making sure that the moment is captured with everything that I'm seeing from my
Mm,
perspective so I can remember it, but
yeah.
not, the other 10% of what's going on that involves me. And so like Ann and I started doing it a little bit more. Every Sunday that we go and watch football, I try to get a photo of like the crew of us, even if there's like 4 or 5 of us. Try to get like a photo of all of us just every week, just to have it.
Just to have it, man.
Yeah,
That's all it takes. Yeah, no, we gotta do more of that too. That's
yeah.
yeah. Now that you bring that up, it's just yeah, it's something that easily slips your mind.
Yeah. Well, again, it goes back to like the Rat Pack of my parents' places. They've got photo albums of everything for the first like 16 years of my life.
Yeah,
My mom and dad would take photos and then go to Walmart and print them off and then build a photo album out of it. And then it would just, that was the rinse and repeat cycle. So it's like every family vacation we went on, every birthday, like all of that kind of stuff. And it's something like I really hope I get to bring forward too, like growing up and like when Ann and I have a family, like be able to document everything.
hmm,
But then in the same like breath, like I want to be doing that before then too, because I don't want this shit to happen where it is like, oh man, I don't have any memories of like this person.
exactly. Because yeah, I feel like just with how technology is now, like it's kind of easily forgotten. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
you can easily delete a photo off your phone or fucking whatever. It's easily lost versus how when you had an actual hard copy of it, a developed like photo, then you had it. Like and you never really
Hmm.
lose that shit.
Absolutely. Like I know
Yeah.
Anne's got somewhere in a box a just like a digital camera from her college days that still has the memory card in it. Who knows if those photos are any good or who knows what even photos are even on there, but they exist on that platform. And like that's
Yeah.
kind of cool to me. I format cards like once a week, I feel like. So like I dump all my footage and like put everything on a hard drive and have it backed up and then wipe those cards and like the 4 terabytes that are plugged into this computer right now from the last year have everything that I've seen in the last year. But how often am I sitting and going through those kind of things and like reminiscing? Whereas, like, again, having this stack of pictures, I was like, I know I have it somewhere within this vicinity and I could pull it out and be like, I got this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like looking at I like holding them in my hand and flipping through those. Those are fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're old. It is what it is.
It happens.
It happens, man. Well, fuck, buddy. We can pretty much wrap this episode up. We can chat a bit after this, but yeah, fucking plug away your stuff, your fucking MediaSicks, man. Go for it.
Yeah. I still have. Well, we're not even going to plug the personal Instagram because I'm moving away from that as much as I can. I am really trying to work on being more of a corporate entity for the time being. Obviously, when there's people like you and I around that we've known each other for years, that's where the personal account's going to come into. But I'm Nick Malychuk. I own MediaSicks for all content creation stuff. I do photo, video, graphic design, screen printing, all of that. You can follow me on Instagram at MediaSicks. TikTok, I think, still exists. It might be at Rat Prince. I don't know. I don't know if TikTok's real anymore. And then same thing. Facebook, MediaSicks. Follow all that stuff. It's got a bright orange logo. I got some cool stuff coming down the line. I got more photos I'm dropping tomorrow from this past weekend. And if anybody wants to make some cool shit, go ahead, slide into those DMs. We'll talk. We'll make weird stuff.
Fuck yeah. Weird stuff's the best stuff, man.
Just Little Rock. We're just going with a Little Rock right now.
All right, buddy. Thanks, buddy. We'll chat soon again.
Hell yeah.
Peace.